background noise. Jasmine's like, he's passively aggressively mentioning the noise again. Did it not crash or did it crash? Crashed and came back? Does that count as a crash then? My counter reset to 0? What, the time counter or what? Said the stream ended. I don't know, man. It could be on my end. It could just be some... It could just be some Twitch shit. Yiladan, happy Friday. It is Friday. Yeah, I've got to go to this wedding thing tomorrow, so it doesn't feel like Friday. It feels like a work day because tomorrow's going to be a work day. I got to work on pretending to be social. People I don't know. Ugh. And I don't drink. So that's going to be weird. I hope they get shit-faced really quick. I hope everybody just gets super drunk real fast. Like, everybody's socially awkward, so they're like... They just get smashed. That way I can just be in the mode. Wedding food is notoriously bad. It may be okay. I don't know. I think it's just like a party. It's not like a wedding. It's like the wedding party afterwards or something. I don't know. Yep. ChatGPT can write a card for you. Liz Biscuit! What's going on? Where have you been, Liz? Are you okay? I don't recall seeing you recently. Liz is mostly okay. That's not 100% okay, Liz. What's going on? Do you want to talk about it? Do we need to go talk to somebody on your behalf? Who do we need to beat up? There's literally dozens of us. Just general poop. Yeah, you know what? Some people have had some general poop lately. A little bit of general poop going around. I think Jasmine's had some general poop. General poop. What am I talking about? It's a new Star Wars character. Based on the quality of writing recently. Not shocking. Most introverted culture, I like it's peaceful. What are you talking about? Oh, socializing here. What counts for socializing? Yeah, I mean, in Sweden, it was people really to themselves. I don't mind socializing at all. It's just I don't know the people there. I get a little socially awkward initially. I'm a very shy person. If you haven't been able to figure that out. It just got to me, and you know how things can. Yeah, Liz, you know what? Sometimes you just gotta accept it as like, yeah, this is gonna be a poopy period. You're gonna have some poopy days. Ildan's wife drags him to weddings and then leaves him alone to force talk with strangers. I would not be happy about that. Somebody earlier, Merc was dealing with drunk people while sober can be a little annoying. I find it's usually if they're drunk, I find it's fine, right? Because it's like, it's almost like dealing with people that are kind of a weird slow motion state or something. Their brain's on slow motion. So it's like, yeah, all right, this is fine. It's kind of weird doing this without lighting turned on. Oh, I see what he's doing here. I think it's this. All right. Well, we'll run in here one day soon and see if this actually looks at all okay, or if it looks kind of dookie. If it's dookie, I'll just delete the shit that I added. Are those surface crystals? I thought those came up from the ground usually. Well, this is the ground, D. This isn't the ceiling. What are you talking about? Is there a cavern under it? No. Can you go mining in it? In the ground? Or in the cavern? I mean, there may be. No. I'm not going to promise you a cavern directly under here, but there's definitely some deep zone stuff going on eventually. Oh, any news on the next playtest? Yes. We will be, we'll be announcing some playtest information fairly soon. No, not tonight. What, are you crazy? But I'm not just saying that in like the soon blah blah blah. Like we're discussing dates and stuff behind the scenes at the moment. So we'll be letting you know some stuff pretty soon. I think it's fair for me to say that at this point because we are discussing stuff. So and we'll let you know, and then we'll go from there. I mean, it's been a bit, so we're gonna approach it gingerly again. And there's definitely some stuff we absolutely want to get done before we have the playtest, so we'll see. Liz said it's okay. Much work's gone in. Can't wait to try it. Right on. Talking to your bottle again, you sound like Darth Vader. Man, if I had like a legit James Earl Jones, isn't it James Earl Jones? James, yeah, wasn't it? Hey, Sparrow. Yeah, if I had James Earl Jones' voice, man, I wouldn't be here. I'd just be out talking somewhere for money. Sparrow, I was thinking of you earlier because I'm like, oh, I ended up dungeon decorating today, even though it's not a dungeon, but it is decorating, so. How have you been? Are you still a carnivore? Still carnivore, loving it? Right on. Oxnell TV, thank you for the follow. Oh man, what prevents me from just going on a full carnivore diet? I mean, I like vegetables. That's the thing, I don't dislike vegetables. Justin Beard, I am not shocked that your blood test came back normal. I think sometimes that eating fast food like that's bad for you. I don't know how much of that's actually true. You made it for a crystal placing stream. Yes, Thulan. Hold on to your junk. You're about to embark on one of the most entertaining streams of your life. Me placing random crystals. Bum bum bum. You gotta understand, I was so tired today that I decided I was gonna get drunk on caffeine. And if it wasn't 9:56 right now, I would actually be drinking the Red Bull that I got for the stream. But I was drinking coffee all the way until I started drinking Monster. And so I was like, all right, I've got this Monster in me. I don't know that I need the Red Bull. Now it's too late because I do need to sleep today. So I got a little energy going into this crystal placing stream. Zukin asked Sparrow, speaking of carnivore, I was curious, is it only meat or do you have like veggies on the side too? Where's her response? No veg, Zukin. It's all meats, eggs, and some dairy. Carnivore sounds expensive. This says full carnivore does imply meat only. Yeah, man, you know what? The pastries in Germany are so good. I've been struggling. Zukin, you don't eat eggs? Dude, you gotta get going with some eggs. Eggs are amazing. I introduced Jasmine to Doctor Who in the last couple of months. And so now anytime I mention eggs, she does the bit where there's that one episode where the Dalek was like remembering that it was a Dalek. And so I'll mention eggs and she's like, eggs, 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 exterminate. And I don't care if you find that funny or not, because I love it to death. Because she's not that type of person. She's not much of a joker, but when she jokes, very funny. If I have access to high quality pastries, I recommend eating them. Dude, it is so hard to go to the grocery store here, and they've got a bakery up front just outside the grocery store. And oh my god, it is so tempting. The pastries look so good, and they taste good. They're just, it's not like Sweden. No offense, anybody from Sweden watching right now or watching the VOD or whatever. Your pastries look okay. They don't taste that great compared. Like Germany is just so good. Oh my goodness, man. So shoulder, I've got 2 more weeks, I think. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, I got about 2 more weeks, and then I'm able to do pretty much everything with my shoulder again. I just got to watch, like, you know, how much weight or whatever. But I've been like shoveling dirt and doing all sorts of shit in the garden with it. Had physiotherapy twice this week, and the guy's like, "Oh, looking good." I'm like, "Yeah, no biggie." So I'm really looking to see like how much I can push it, and see if I can get back to working out consistently good again, so that I can get some pastries jammed into my stomach. Gardening doing okay on the shoulder? Yeah. Gardening's been fine, like surprisingly durable. Got a lot of gardening done, and it was no problem. So I was pretty amped on that. And physiotherapy is the physiotherapist is somebody. He's got an office right below Jasmine's old clinic, and so she recommended like I check it out this time around. And went there for my finger and then shoulder, and the dude is amazing. Guy is awesome. Super cool guy. I was telling her this week that I left my last physio appointment going. I was bummed because I'm like, one of these days I'm not going to need any more physiotherapy. I won't be able to hang out with Kareem. The guy is such a cool guy. I was like, I was just like going there and talking to him. How's Pinky doing? Liz, Pinky is doing fantastic. It's healed up nice. I don't know if you were around for a recent stream. Yeah, it's basically, there's barely even, it's just, there's not even really a scar. It's like a wrinkle. It just looks like a wrinkle. Looks like a knuckle wrinkle. It may actually be a knuckle wrinkle. No, that's a scar. Anyway. Freaking Wolverine. You guys have been here. You've heard me say that often, so whatever. Probably getting old, but it's true. Just jumped on what happened to my pinky. It got cut off. Do you guys do raised garden? We've added 4 new raised beds to go along with our beds. That is good looking. No phantom pains. Nothing. Yeah, nothing really. I mean, you know, every once in a while it feels missing, but that's, I guess, to be expected. Sparrow, I just saw where you said she has excellent jokes. That's fantastic. That is fantastic. What happens when you dig too... That's what happens when you dig too far up your nose. Yeah, the fun thing is... if I do this... Or if I do it in my ear... It's kind of funny because it looks like, if you just looked over it, it just looks like I got a finger in my ear. So I'm going to do that a lot whenever there's little kids around to make them laugh. And then when they laugh, I'm going to tell them that my dog bit it off, and then they're going to get scared. Planning on playing on Teak. Nope. Not this time around. I've really enjoyed, you know, some time on the past TLPs. I'll be real honest. I couldn't justify the time this time around. I can't do it. I'd rather be playing Eminem, to be honest. Like, we had a few sessions. We've had a few sessions of just like playtests where the guys are able to hop on on voice and just... You mean working on Eminem? Listen, I don't do that. I place crystals and occasionally, you know, whatever. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to play. Comedian in UK, Dave Allen, used to do a lot of jokes about picking his nose in the car because he was missing top of his first finger. I can one-up him. You gonna try EQ2 Origins? Nope, Sparrow. For the same reasons. One more soul said, thoughts on manually adding crystals versus procedurally? I mean, these, I'm just placing these around these newly added pieces. So it's kind of manual work. And then all the rest of this stuff, like basically everything's been placed manually in here, all the objects and stuff. And it's a bit tedious for sure, but it's a good thing to do in like situations where you've got a little bit of downtime and want to place some stuff in. I think it's got a better feel. We may create some tools later where we can paint some stuff like this in or whatever, but for now it's like just do the work and then see if it looks and feels good. Maybe, you know, it's easy to be like there's a more efficient way of doing it and thus you could be working on other stuff, but I'm gonna let you in on a secret if you haven't figured it out based off of the 100 other videos that are probably up if you're watching the VOD. I've discovered it is so difficult for me to like concentrate and stream and like do work in the database or whatever. It's just honestly placing spawns, placing objects, shit like that. It's so much easier to do on stream and it gives me at least something that looks almost like I'm working. So it's like, all right, we can hang out, we can talk about random stuff. Sometimes it's game related, sometimes like tonight it's a lot of just not game related stuff. That's okay too, I guess. I mean, keep in mind this stream started as my stream where I would just get in and we would hang out. And not all of us, most of you are new, but like we'd hang out and just bullshit about stuff and you'd ask me questions about like EverQuest or the industry or whatever, and I try to answer those questions, and that was that. Well, just because we have a video game going doesn't mean that this stream is not still just my stream. And you know, same way for the rest of the team as well. If they want to do something else on their streams, it's their streams. It's not a, you know, it's not an Eminem exclusive thing. I know the bulk of you are here because of Eminem, but yeah. Zukin said, regarding recent playtests, I was kind of hoping there would be going to be a playtest today. Oh man, you should have said something. I honestly, I didn't want to impose. I assumed, like, I think Nick's working today. I should have checked with you guys. Oh, the build was broken. That's what it was. The build was broken. That's why I'm not in game. That's what it is. That's why I'm not in game. I forgot that that's why I was not in game. You're here for the meat and pastry talk? Pineapple. We were talking about dragon meat earlier in Slack. Did that conversation advance? No. Okay. Sparrow pineapple. Yeah, for sure on that one. John, you wouldn't want to jerky that meat. Speaking of food, will we see gnome kebabs? Probably. There'll probably be some different food made out of player character races. It's unavoidable, right? I remember when Paul Carrico, because he's the serious dude. If you haven't watched the interview I did with him, again, I was so happy to finally be able to interview him. But it's up on YouTube on my channel. Paul Carrico, GM Frisnick from EQ. I remember the day he discovered somebody had put the trade skill recipe in for a hero sandwich, and it used hero meat. One more soul. Yeah, we'll have at least one PvP server. If you go here, click that link, it'll take you in and it'll give you a lot of information on our early access, what servers we're currently planning on having when we go live, all of that stuff. So check that link. Next question, can I feast on the flesh of my enemies? Yes, in some cases. I think that's gonna be possible. It's just gonna be a question of, do you get a lucky roll? But anyway, somebody put hero sandwiches in the game and Paul lost his shit. It was hilarious. And his voice would get so shrill when he would yell. And he's like, who did this? Why is there a hero sandwich in the game made with goddamn hero meat? Is something along those lines. Like, lost his mind. It was great. I think it was an apprentice that put it in. It was either an apprentice or it was Dan. Dude, Paul helped me survive customer service. When we were in customer service together, him making fun of customer petitions and problematic players and just everything in general and losing his shit helped me make it through the day sometimes. Meat, pastries, video games, clearly my people. Yeah, churro dude. I guess it makes sense looking at your name. Absolutely love the idea of trolls and ogres using other race parts for baking. For sure. Why wouldn't they do that? That seems very in keeping with our tone. You heard John Smelly was a guest zone designer for M&M? Where did you hear that? That's an odd one. I was supposed to do an interview with John. Old Smed was going to do one of those EQ interviews back in the day. And we were getting closer and closer to the day that we were going to do the interview. And then he ghosted me. So if you're out there, Smed, know that I'm still down. Oh. I'm not. I don't know that. See, that's the thing. I don't like chasing people. I did ping them. I did ping them after the fact. Hey, what's going on? But like, I don't want to be all thirsty and stuff for Smed. Greed hit him up. I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about it. Y'all want us to try for you? No, I'm good. I don't really see them around anymore. I used to be on Facebook, and so then I would see them, you know, posting in like the old Sony groups and stuff like that. But I'm not really on Facebook, so Don't really have an opportunity to see them. Hey, Defiant Possum. Do Planetside month in celebration of Planetide's 21st birthday. Oh, and hit people up from Planetside? Oh, that's kind of interesting. Is this you just trying to backdoor Smed back into the interview list? But I could, yeah, you mentioned Andy, you mentioned a Higby. It'd be cool to try to get Fisa. She'd be a fun interview. Neufeld would be interesting. Kevin McCann, I really didn't. I just met him in passing, but I know Don. Know-ish Andy. Don't know Dan Benter. Higby, I know. I was thinking about Georgeson more recently, and you know what? I think maybe I've given him a bit of a bum rap because he responded kind of like snippy in a meeting once when I was new on the team, and it was kind of a weird, like the way I got put on the team was probably a little awkward for him as well. Like I've thought back on that, and I'm like, you know what? I think I've kind of given Georgeson a bad like rap on that one, because I could kind of see it. I mean, you know, fucking, it's not hard to come off the wrong way. It's also not hard. Yeah, I mean, like I come off like an asshole all the time, I'm sure. So it's like, why am I going to blame this dude for coming off like an asshole in a meeting once? My understanding, talking to the team, like a lot of, I remember a number of people citing like, yeah, you know, he can be kind of or whatever. But I also remember a lot of the team mentioning that if it wasn't for him pushing on stuff, pulling shit together, blah, 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 like the game would not have released. If I remember correctly, that was the statement. Like basically, he did a bunch to just ensure that the game came out. So might be interesting to might be interesting to do that. Like Nick, for real, don't let me forget that. I think that's worthwhile. Hey Stoic, I am feeling good. Terrence Yee, oh man, he would be a great guy to talk to, I think. He might be like, oh, I'm too shy or whatever, but he'd be cool. Who else? Niraj would be cool. Animator. Niraj also worked at 38 Studios with the guys there, like McGeethy and those dudes. Yeah, I can ping people. I mean, I'll just ping what are they gonna do? Say no? It's all good. Sparrow said I come off the wrong way all the time. K Sim said same. Yeah, I mean, my thing is like, you know, I don't know about the rest of you, but there are a lot of times where it's insecurity. Like on my end, I'll like be reactionary or whatever, just because I'm fucking insecure about something, or you know, like, or sometimes I just kind of get tired and impatient, and it's not the situation's fault. It's like at that point in my day, I'm just like fried or done or whatever. But I'd say the bulk of me. The bulk of me coming off like an asshole at times is got, you know, it's just rooted in various insecurities. So what are you gonna do? You just try to be aware of it, and you try to work on it, and try not to be a dick all the time. Do I know Brian Burness? I don't. I may have to like get into LinkedIn and search for some of these people, and they may be people that I'm like getting their name confused or whatever, but doesn't strike a bell. When you said Brian Burness, I thought Harvey Burgess, but I've interviewed him. Lich says, sounds familiar. Yeah, but dude, you've also, and this isn't me picking on you, but I'm not going to say you, we have to recognize when we're pushing buttons and when we're being a little much, and then we have to rein it in. Hangry is a real thing. I got hangry earlier today. I gotta admit, I got hangry with Hamad. Got hangry. That can definitely happen. Hey, Fielder. No hangry on carnivore? I don't know that I've got... I think I would... So, can you tell me, like, can you break down, like, a shopping... what's a carnivore shopping list, right? Like what meat are you buying all the time? I wind up eating so much damn chicken here because it's like... Germany's got a ton of chicken and pork, but not necessarily, you know, a ton of beef options at the store that I go to, at least. When someone tells me not to poke the bear, I look for a stick, and that's in response of John saying, "Don't let Sean fool you, he's a big old teddy bear that will occasionally maul you." Dude, don't poke me with a stick. Lich said, autism paired with dry sense of humor raised in the old internet, simply rooted in my blood. I hear you, buddy. But old dogs can learn new tricks. They can. They can. I also think a little bit is, you know, sometimes when we're allowed to be habitual line steppers, we keep stepping on the line. And I want to be here for you on that front. I want to be your... I want to be your line. I want to be the one that tells you, you know what, Lich, you need to rein your shit in a little bit, please. But I try to... I send you DMs. Is that not correct? Don't I send you DMs? Instead of just like trying to blow you up on the spot. I'm like, calm down, buddy. Habitual line stepper Charlie Murphy was the best. Charlie Murphy, rest in peace. He was a habitual line stepper. Chuck roast, 1 ribeye, ground beef, ground turkey, bacon, eggs, cheese, heavy cream. That's 1 week. 1 ribeye. That doesn't seem like a lot of food. I would be eating kilos of that shit. And lots of butter. Oh man. You know what? I was doing like a very... When I first moved to Sweden, I was doing a very high fat diet. I wouldn't say it was like keto or whatever, but it was inspired by that. Very high fat, and it worked well for me, but I was getting a ton of exercise. Keto, not kilo. I don't know what a kilo is. Do I know Ryan Elam? I do. Ryan Elam's a really nice guy. Then again, some of these people may not want to do interviews with me. I've developed kind of a reputation. But I guess we'll find out. We'll reach out. We'll make a list. We'll reach out. And I'll be like... Hey guys, in honor of Planetside, my friend and compatriot, my comrade if you will, has some questions for you. There's a great question from Trotsky. Robot, when you're doing this kind of terrain placement, do you worry about whether players can get stuck, or do you wander around the map later to see if it's possible to get stuck rather than addressing it during terrain development? Yeah, so part of it is just kind of getting them set up in here where it's these are really big relative to, like, you probably think these are of a different scale. You get in here, these are some big ass crystals. Opposite of the burgers, these are big. So what I wind up doing is just kind of placing them in, and then running around a fair bit with different characters, gnome, ogre, human, and see where you can get stuck. Can you climb up stuff and get plopped in, blah blah, and then just tweak them. So. I don't know, I kind of like that, penetrating through like that. That's actually, why haven't I been doing that more? I like that. That's kind of dope. That'll work. That's actually, I dig that. That's good. Ryan Elam I met through EQ. Ryan was on EQ for a while, if I'm not mistaken. Can we mine from them? Kazi, I would not be shocked if there's some mineable crystals here eventually. Credit as programmer on Luckland. That's probably when I met him then. He was the one that I confused the other day with Roy Eltham, name-wise, when we were first talking. Also has credits on Vanguard as Director of Technology and PlanetSide 2 as Technical Director. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But for some reason, I remember seeing Ryan around a lot more, even after Luckland. But I guess he went over with that crew. I think he was friends with, oh okay, if he's credited on Landmark, Clone Wars, Free Realms, yeah, that makes sense that I saw him around then. Think he was friends with my ex-wife. She's pretty friendly with most folks there though. She started as an executive assistant to the studio director that EQ and stuff was under. Eventually became a producer. So she knew a lot of the folks. Yeah. I don't know if Jampa's still in here. Chris is still in here. Curious, like, what are you doing, Chris? Are you working in the background? Or I guess this would be in the background while you're working. But I would say, I was just thinking about it because I'm like, yeah, you know what? Again, me placing crystals for a while is probably not the most engaging thing in the world. Find it relaxing. Hopefully you guys find it relaxing as well. The thing that I like about it though is it allows me to focus on you guys and talk to you guys and hang out a little bit. I enjoy that. I enjoy that about this stream. But I was thinking of Chris because I think he does a great job of he's a very articulate guy, smart guy. I watch him, I'm like, man, that guy sounds like he knows what he's doing. I come in here and do shit like this and make quasi inappropriate jokes. Look forward to his streams every week. Oh, that's so nice of you. I'm gonna try to be more consistent, right? Because I know for some folks it helps if you're like, oh, this is the day that the stream's on. I'm really gonna try to be more consistent. Just shit like Wednesday where it's a holiday. I'm like, oh man, do I try to rush home and make the stream? And if I'm at the garden working all day, am I going to be exhausted? The cool thing is, during this year of no alcohol, this alcohol-free year challenge, I just find like it is cool to be able to be at the garden and like get shit done, drink an alcohol-free beer, and like enjoy the outside and the weather, and like be able to come home and be completely clear-headed and get shit done. Jasmine and I have been talking about a fair bit. I wouldn't be shocked if we keep doing the no alcohol thing after the 1 year mark is up. It's felt really nice. Every time I think about it, because I'm someone that loves to drink, but like I just think about all the negatives. I'm like, oh, but do I love to like feel crappy by the end of the night? Do I love being hungover? No, not really. Do I love like being foggy headed and not remembering everything that went on the day before? Not really. Yeah, well, not to sound preacher or whatever. I'm just going through my like process. I'm just like, man. That's what I've been thinking about. Nothing better than ice cold beer after work. Usually limit myself to one on a weekend. That's the thing, Encrypt. God bless you for being able to do that. I'm not a one beer person. If I have one beer, I just get grumpy. And in Germany, you know, the beers, all the ones I drink at least, are a half liter. So, Sparrow said, I give it up as well. It just makes me feel like garbage. And that's just a drink or two. A drink or two always made me feel like garbage. That's why I'm like, I just keep going. All I drink these days is water. Zukin, that's the power move. Like, these guys aren't good for you either, right? These monsters and these and Red Bulls and stuff, but I need it because it's 10:33 p.m. for me right now. So I said I quit drinking like 5 years ago, maybe more. Dig sober. Yeah, it's diggable. It's like you know, I don't have to make it a thing. I feel like I'm enjoying not drinking more now than like after I got out of rehab in 2011, but that was for pills and a whole thing. You can find a VOD, I'm sure. Like, wasn't drinking, wasn't doing anything, and it was a bummer because I think I hadn't said in my mind like, absolutely can't do this. And here it's more, it just feels voluntary. It's just like, yeah, don't really want to do it. Maybe it's also just I'm getting older. Who knows? I say all this stuff. 6 months from now, I'll be on stream like smashing brewskis. You'll be like, what happened? Like, yeah, it's Germany. YOLO. But so far I'm not missing it at all. See you, Swanee. Enjoy date night. Shrooms are better. Shrooms are different. Feldane said stop drinking in 2012. Right on. Start buying caffeine pills. I've got those, but they're in my bug out kit. I like my caffeine with some sugar. Some sugar and some natural fruit flavors. Shrooms and pot make you paranoid? No fun? Yeah. I mean, that's another thing. Like, I haven't really missed any of that in recent years at all. I'm just kind of like, CBD has been okay for, like, I felt like it's helped with, you know, some pain relief and stuff in the past. But even that, I'm kind of like, whatever right now. They even use sugar in those, or are they high fructose corn syrup? Oh, that's a fair question. Sugar-free energy drinks, caffeine pills just don't hit the same. Lich, yeah, I can't. There's so many good sugar-free options. There's a brand from Sweden here called Noco. I like those as well, but I don't. I feel like I get headaches if I start drinking a lot of. If I consume a lot of artificial sweeteners, because a lot of the protein powders and stuff like that we get have artificial sweeteners in them, and I'm just not a fan. So I'd prefer just to get the sugar. It's the devil I know. Water Club. Yeah, well, I mean, you guys have seen this bottle for years. I've had this bottle now for what, 7 years or whatever. Pretty good run for it. Like, I'm always just drinking water if I'm not drinking some caffeine. Oh, and Fresh said, I meant in Germany, pretty sure here it's all corn syrup. Oh, they've got corn syrup and stuff in here as well. But I do feel like it is easier to find stuff with just regular sugar. First said, water mostly here, sometimes tea or lemonade. Yeah, man. Oh, and you get sweet tea, right? You get that good American sweet tea. Ghost Energy's good? That sounds like it would not be good. That sounds like they'd be like, how do you do, fellow gamers? Would you like some Ghost Energy? Like, come on. Missing the Southern Sweet Tea. Yeah, on our visits back to the US, I've introduced Jasmine to Southern Sweet Tea. She's just like, oh my God, why is this so sweet? I'm like, babe, it's in the name. It's in the name. Are you able to talk about what your raid philosophy is on M&M compared to Pop Plus and EQ with a lot of flagging, etc.? So I know I've asked you this before, so forgive me. What is the best way to refer to you, because your name is a bunch of letters? Is it Vision? M&M themed flask? Yeah, I mean, you guys feel free to drink. Sure, LOL. Well, what is... You put those letters together for a reason. What should I call you? Tell me phonetically, and then I'll answer your question. That sounds very demanding. Sorry. Well, wait, why am I saying sorry? You're on my stream, damn it. Vision is great. Okay. So, Vision it is. So in terms of overall encounter design complexity and things like that, I think that's going to be a thing that as we're implementing more content in, we'll wind up riffing off each other and talking and finding approach and complexity that we feel is good for encounters. To date, I think the only complex encounter that we have in, or at least the complex encounter that, and I'm saying complex more than a thing spawns, you whack it kind of thing, would be one that Nick's put into Wormsbane, but there may be more. I may just not be aware of them at the moment. But for the most part, we've been putting in kind of simple base pops. When we've discussed raids in the past and sort of the raid aspects of the game, like early on, as with a number of things, you know, and I'm speaking from my point of view, like my feedback was, hey, really don't want to do raids. Like, can we just focus on groups? But invariably, we're going to do multi-group content, right? And so we've had a lot of discussions on, you know, do we do any raids? Don't we do raids, etc. And over time, you know, my position absolutely is softened because it just makes sense that we'd want to do multi-group encounters. And I think early on the phrasing was like, hey, we're not doing raids, but we're doing multi-group encounters, which at some point you kind of gotta call a spade and be like, yeah, okay, this is a raid, right? Because it's the common term. And so rather than try to be confusing and call it some other shit, it is what it is. So then the reason why I was very hesitant to even go down the terminology path is the concern of us getting caught up in rating as the sort of the core high-end elder game progression, right? It is you get into this tier and then there's this separate sort of progression tier and there's a broadening gap between the haves and the have-nots, and more there becomes this question of like, what are we supporting more? Are we supporting this aspect of the game or this other aspect of the game, and how much of it is you know, how much of grouping then just becomes like, how do I get through that in order to get to the cool stuff, all of that stuff. So anyway, I think we've landed on a good spot so far with regards to just talking about, hey, they're going to be these, you know, targets of opportunity. They're going to be expeditions. They're going to be areas where we're definitely going to support what feels like, or what is essentially more of a raid game, but with it feeling more of like a parallel progression path, the ability to get certain you know, cosmetics or get certain elements, get certain materials and other things, right? So what we're gonna do is, I'm saying that authoritatively, what we're gonna do is ultimately what we decide to do. But what I kind of like arrived at in my understanding of where we're at so far is we are going to provide gameplay that scratches that itch without it becoming like the focus of the game. And so with that in mind, then we'll get into, well, what's the level of complexity that we settle on, right? And I think that will be a thing that we've just got to figure out as we go. Believe it or not, for the last, probably, I think it came up in the garden, so probably the last week, I've been wanting to implement something that is an encounter that has, you know, like back in my day, we did a lot of shit with Invisible Men. We did the first like early ring encounters and you know, the first events where it's like you've got multi-stage fights, like the what was the name of that shit I put in the basement of Shreza? The curse cycle and things like that, right? And so thinking about the way our tools currently work, I've had one that I want to experiment with that should be pretty easy to pull off. And part of the trick with it is like not only spawning the things, but having them clean up properly and all this other stuff. But it's been on my mind. But it's like, it's item number 15 of shit that I want to get done that's on my mind. So it's pretty low priority. And I can't seem to stay up till like 2 a.m. like some of the other people and get stuff done. So it'll just sit on my list. Anyways, Greed4284, thank you for the follow. If you're trying to call it something else, does the idea of raid mean something different to you? Or you just don't want the association with what the community sees as right. For me, honestly, Thulon, I was like, I just don't even want to. Let's just make everything ultra group focused. Period. But you know, different strokes, different folks on the team, and there is value. I think Lich just said, understand trying to find a balance. Feels like Classic EQ had that balance pretty solidly. You don't have to focus on rating, but keeping people playing at max level is important. Yeah. And so that's kind of where we arrived. And again, I think the gameplay in Classic in Trilogy was, pretty... Gameplay hit a decent balance, but I personally, and I'm not the expert in this area, I'm just speaking for myself, I feel like the power jumps in itemization from Classic to Kunark was like a big jump, and then Kunark to Velius was a big jump. Feel like there was a bit of invalidation and kind of like a power jump that could have been a little bit better. So hopefully as we're working through progression and stuff, that we've got a little bit cleaner curve on that. And yeah, and then make it so that it doesn't... I think we just got a little crazy with Pop. And then beyond. But it was fun at the time. I mean, that's one of the things that happens. The reason why Pop was what Pop was is just because the people that were calling the shots on the team, all of us were in raiding guilds. I mean, we've had like John and Rich were in Keepers of the Faith. I was in TDE on 7th, so we were the top rating guild on my server. Steve was in TDE as well, right? Like there are a number of us that were kind of the people that were in leadership positions and really kind of pushing the tempo on things and pushing the tools and all that stuff. We really loved raiding and loved the raid game and felt that it made... At the time, it made our game feel distinct from other games, right? Like WoW wasn't out yet, etc. And so we just leaned into it, and I think we lost the plot a bit. And so I just don't want to make that mistake again. Is where I'm coming from. But I'm also, as this project has progressed, I've also tried to strike a better balance and like more and more stepping back and going, how do I convey? And it's funny, like saying this shit after, being in leadership positions for 20 years or whatever. Like I'm still trying to figure this out, but it's like, how do I convey the intent better instead of saying we should do this and really getting hung up and like butting heads on like, well, it needs to be this way. It doesn't need to be this way. I need to actually convey, what it is that I'm trying to say is important, either to avoid or to do. So it's like, hey, these are the things that I think are important. And then, I think it's a lot easier for us to settle on stuff. First said we already have Invisible Mint. No, I know. I mean, we set it up with that in mind. Like, we were joking about that when we were setting up the tools and stuff. So that's why I can picture how the Invisible Mint would work for this little encounter I want to put together. And I think it was spawned by playing in Mini Crypt the other night. Like Mini Crypt had me thinking about all sorts of, man, we can make a bunch of these little dudes and in different themes and have some cool shit. Which I guess goes to the question of fielders. Would you consider instances like Eldon since you're more concerned with group content? No. We really want to maintain the friction and world sense that comes from static zones. But we can do some interesting stuff with little static zones and little like pockets and stuff. Like this zone has so many weird like mini dungeon type site. Like I'm not going to get into I'm not populating this on stream, and I'm not showing you the inside of this on stream because I want it to be a surprise. But there's a little mini dungeon here. I mean, we've got these nice little things like cave systems and small points of interest that have rooms and stuff like that. And so having these, you know, having these areas in game, just in the regular zone is cool. But then the dungeon that we played in the other night, I'll get the VOD up. The VOD for that'll be up soon. But we spent like 2.5 hours in like a 2-room dungeon. Right, so don't forget your corpse and mini crypt. Oh yeah, that's right, John. Shit. Convey the why, not the how. I know, Nicodemus. I know, and that's a, you know, it's a thing. But you know what? Sometimes it's fun to also convey the how, right? Like a good leader conveys the why and not the how. Yes, but when a good leader also wants to like make stuff and have their fingerprints on stuff, sometimes it's hard to like always just be like, here's the commander's intent, you guys have fun. It's like, I want to make a few things, right? So, or you know, I want something to be a very specific way. Why? Because I want to, you know, like what's the fun in starting a project and having a small team and stuff like that if you can't do stuff your way sometimes. And I think that's been one of the bigger challenges for me, right? Because it's like, how do you do that and still ensure that everybody feels empowered and is having a good time and all that? But it's just like, sometimes when people are like, but why is it this way? It's like, I don't know. I just really want to put a dong on the dragon. Not that that's an actual example. That's a joke. Come on. Just a random example. See what I did? See what I did? Now you guys think it's okay to talk about that in chat. Jeez, guys. Bad example. But if the project's a success, it'll be part of my GDC talk. Vulork, Fabrice. Vulork comes out of the shadows for that one. Fabricio. What? You guys aren't even... Johnny Pump, that one's so obvious. You couldn't go with Dragon's Dogma too? Okay. Rulork said I'll stop. Okay. I don't care, man. Like, people watching the VOD on Twitch can appreciate this a lot more than people watching the VOD on YouTube. They only see it scrolling. They just see dongs scrolling across the bottom here. My approach to streaming is who was it? Yeah, that's what it is. I'm taking the Cortez approach to Sparrow. Oh Lord. Worst of the bunch so far. Emojis. How dare you? It is Friday. Swanee, no. No, Swanee. I think what I'm trying to do is the Cortez approach to game development. Like my career will hinge on Eminem being successful. I'll just say so much silly, unprofessional shit on stream and post the VODs that basically I'll be unemployable in the industry. So the project's got to be a success. I'm burning the ships on the shore. We're burning the ships. We're not leaving until we get this done. Maybe that would be the name of the GDC talk. Burn the ships. Dude, using like turning lighting off in here is really throwing me with object placement. It's really, I may have to turn it back on. The performance in some areas has been really nice, but your future shareholder is going to be like, this guy's a little too risky. Future shareholders, I don't know what kind of, I don't know. What are you talking about, the future shareholders? That's not how we roll. Simon, I had to look him up. I'm like, why does he sound so familiar? I'm not even making this up. I was like, okay, it's been a while since I've heard that name. Who's Agamemnon? English is so hard for me, let alone Greek. Simon said, Sean is our Agamemnon. Agamemnon. All right. Description. Are you listening, Simon? In the account of Darius the Phrygian, Agamemnon was described as blonde, large, and powerful. He was eloquent, wise, and noble, a man richly endowed. Hey, we've got a theme. It's part of the theme tonight. Can we have an M&M pineapple dog chew in the merch shop? Yeah, dude. As soon as we've got enough cash to actually have some stuff manufactured, we can do some stuff like that. I think that would be fun. If I recall, he burnt the ships at Troy. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, because I was trying to remember, like, who was the burn the ships guy, and it was like, oh, Google told me Cortez. I was like, all right, I believe you. Maybe it's just a thing people do sometimes. Like, you know what? Sometimes you got to burn the ships. Is that why you're playing a bunch of phalluses today? Playing? Whatever. Either way. Yeah, it's, I once, this is the actual quote from one of the ladies I worked with at Star Stable. Within the game, there's like these stones with inscriptions on them that you can find, like these, you know, because it's supposed to be like the Scandinavian island and stuff. So there's these ancient stones in the game, and they've been there like since forever, right? But now we've got the younger generation of women that are sort of at the company and leadership and stuff, and they were talking about replacing them because they were too phallic. They wanted to replace the rune stones. Was that what it was? Rune stones? They want to replace them with something less phallic. So now they've got like floating pyramids. But it was funny because in the meeting where they were describing that, at some point she was like, every time I look around, all I see is a bunch of penises. Like, I'm in this meeting just like, head on the table laughing. And it's fine. They had wonderful sense of humor. They were honestly some of the greatest people to work with. They're such nice folks to work with. And she said that, and I know, like, she was serious, but also kind of joking, but mostly serious. And whenever I look at them, I see a bunch of penises. I was just losing my shit. I forget. I'm fairly certain, because here's the interesting thing. For those of you out there in HR land, in the West, here's the thing. What I found, I worked at a game company that was, yeah, I did. I think I said Sparrow. I think I said that sounds like. I was like, that sounds like you got something on your mind. And the thing that I found was our company, when I got there, was like 70, 80 people. By the time I left, it was like 130 people. The whole time it was like 55% female. So it's a video game company with a big open pit, where we've got, I would have to say, I would be shocked if there's another medium-sized game company that has that many women on staff, right? So that's one of those things that everybody in the industry is like, you know, professing like, hey, we need to do this, we want to do this, blah, blah, blah. It is the most unique game company that I know of in that regard. And the one thing that really stood out to me after working there for a couple of years is, and this is going to be a shocker, this is going to be weird, and I know some of you may already know this in chat. What I found was women are people, and they varied in terms of personality, backgrounds, interests, sense of humor, etc. And they were basically just like dudes to work with for the most part. So what I found was, it was less about, do we have a woman in this role on the team or a man in this role on the team? And it was, do we have a person that likes fantasy in the role making quests? We do? Cool. Do we have a person that's not that into video games that's working in marketing? No shit? Weird. That must be the first time that's happened, right? Like, we had people that were into games, people that weren't into games. We had people that were playing D&D in the evening, and people that weren't. And they're just people. So, and we found that in our research as well. There's research being done. I don't think I'm violating NDA by saying this, but it's at this point been a couple years. There's like all this research to be like, you know, how do we encourage girls to get into gaming and all this stuff through newfangled approach? Girls are already into games. That's what we found, because we were making games for tween and teen girls. And what were they playing when we surveyed them? GTA 5, Minecraft, Fortnite, right? Like, surveys, it was just the same. It's the same shit. Sims was in there, sure, but like the top three were the top three. It's just, and so a lot of times the stories kind of broke down of like, you know, there's this special unicorn situation that we're creating or doing or whatever. So anyways, the reason why I got onto this whole topic, and not to cause any controversy or whatever, is just so much inappropriate humor and shit while I was at that company. Just filthy mouths. These women have filthy mouths. Women are filthy. They're just as bad as men when it comes to being inappropriate and talking shit. 100% the truth. And you women out there, you know it's true. So I don't mind, you know what? I don't mind having a stream where we make some dong jokes. Our youngest, Sparrow said, her youngest loves Subnautica. Right on. Lich says, my daughter plays games. It's not the same games I like. Really can't coerce her things. Coerce her like things she doesn't like, but that's fine. Hey, Quicksana. Yeah, it was funny. One of the guys... Visava says dongs. Hey, everybody. Yeah, one of our guys' daughter was there because, like, I think, you know, he had, they shared custody and so she was there for like on her whatever vacation, summer vacation for a week. And she just sat there in the, you know, one of the empty desks on her laptop, like playing Fortnite, killing the shit out of people. I think there's social well, there was social stigma for anybody playing games. It was just nerdy, goofy stuff, right? But like, I don't know, man. I remember skipping school and being like 11 years old, skipping school, being at the public library at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, playing D&D with my two nerd friends. And I remember, I will always remember her name. I remember April and her friends came by because they were skipping school too. And they're like, what are you guys doing? We're like, oh my God. Girls. We're so excited. We're playing Dungeons and Dragons. You want to know everything about it? And they listened for a little bit and then are like, this is kind of stupid. And then they left. And we're like, oh man, wouldn't it be cool if they liked Dungeons and Dragons? But again, that's anecdotal. Nick said, my 1.5-year-old daughter sits on my lap and moves around, jumps in M&M in jackal form. She loves dogs. That's so cute. We'll have to make her a dog area. We'll have little area in one of the zones. Just some dogs running around. With the new wolves, man, the new wolves are looking pretty awesome. So, I want to make a pet rune. I want to make my dog summonable for me. Need to take her to the dog room. Oh, she'll be so impressed. Infrared said, I keep forgetting there's a lot of nerd stigma for Gen X and stuff. Yeah, man. Us old timers. Us Gen X. It's hard for us as Gen Xers to be like, we don't have all the benefits of boomers. We're, according to the book, The Fourth Turning, we're meant to be like the Han Solos of our generation's like the Han Solo generation. But anyway, yeah, it's like, I remember like this sleeve. It's the same with tattoos. I see kids, you know, I'm like, how old is 18-year-old with like tattooed hands and face and shit? Like this sleeve is, I started on my sleeve when I was 20, when I was in the army. So it's 29 years old. So this sleeve is 29 years old. And when I got it, it was weird to be sleeved. It wasn't normal. I went back to Alabama and people were like freaked out that I had a sleeve. Lady at the grocery store would like grab my arm and be like, oh my God, would you look at this? It's so colorful. I can't believe you got these tattoos all over you, young man. Did it hurt? Right? And so, what generation is Kylo Ren? Millennials, I think. Simon said solid book. Simon, we'll have to talk books one day. You've got me intrigued. But yeah, as Generation X, like, I'm surprised if you're Gen X and you're anything like my childhood, you just count yourself lucky you made it this far. Doesn't Kylo Ren kill Han Solo though? Yeah, that's why I don't let millennials near me. Lich said we're not that bad. Oh, you're a millennial? Oh, okay. That explains some stuff. Most of you in here are probably millennials, huh? Probably shouldn't shit on my community. I'll never forget the day I watched you make whatever these are when I'm running by them in game. Right on. You should be able. You should be able to make it out here next playtest. I mean, you may be killed, but still. Gaspard says random Gen X wanders in. Welcome, brother. Or whatever. Older millennial. Fair enough, Jester. I do believe in such things. Jasmine's honorary. I think she's honorary Gen X. She's probably elder millennial, but I give her Gen X points just because of her disposition. Somebody geriatric millennial, that makes sense as well. Oh yeah, Sparrow said Gen X survived my childhood as a free range chicken. Yeah, I mean, we were the first latchkey kids. I pretty much raised myself. Good job. Good job, me, in raising myself. I mean, hell, my parents even hooked me up. They added a room to the house that we had. They added a room so that they would have a new master bedroom, and they gave me the old. They added a room, which then allowed us to add their master bedroom. We had a new living room, and so we had this weird kind of like den room at the front of the house that was not used. So they gave me that because I had my own door. So by the time I was like 15, 16, I had my own door, so I could come and go as I please. They were just like, whatever. Because I'd sneak out every night, you know, anyway. Well, not every night. That'd be goofy. But weekends, I was always just gone. I mean, I had the sort of teenage years of, like, once I was like 15 or whatever, I realized Friday comes, I would often just, like, pack a change of clothes or two, have some pocket cash, you know, a few bucks, spare set of contact lenses, and I would just go find a party. You know, where's the party at tonight? And just bounce from like place to place throughout the weekend, and come back on Sunday and get ready for school. And I think that's, you know, that's a more sort of, I don't know, maybe normal Gen X lifestyle. Parents were just like, be safe. Choclar said, latchkey kid here as well. Right on. Liz says, I find it hard to relate to kids these days because they have way more options than we ever did. They get so much more. A lot of kids get laptops, PCs. Yeah, but they don't get to buy houses. TVs in their rooms, mobile phones. A lot more sort of distraction devices to keep them connected. But man, the benefits we had of not having that shit. Oh my God, I was just talking to Jasmine about this the other day. It's got to be so hard to be a kid these days. Like, honestly, I look at it like they might have more than we did, but that's so much worse. Like, the ability to, the second I wasn't at a phone, you couldn't reach me, right? Like, we'd have our meeting spots, like, let's meet here, let's meet there, and if you're not there, then I'm going to go over here, and you're not there, I'm going to go over there. Remember driving around or going around, like, all the different spots to try to, like, find somebody before pagers? And yeah, I mean, there's some freedom there. Can't imagine growing up with social media. I can't either. I would be wrecked. I mean, dude, it's bad enough that I'm doing this shit, right? Like, the stuff I'm saying is on the internet forever. I couldn't imagine young me, it'd be even worse. Oh, it's so crazy to think of. remember I borrowed a video camera from a girl I was dating, so we could record skateboarding. And it was like, you know, video camera with like the little cassettes and shit, right? Which at the time was like pretty techy, but it wasn't digital. But I remember we broke up, so she wanted her video camera back. So I made a video talking about how lame she was. It's like, I hope you watch this video cassette on your camera because you are lame. You are stupid for breaking up with me. Here's your stupid camera back. Right? Like, it's so much worse with like social media. You should ask if she still has it. At some point, at some point if I ever talk to her again, but hey, you still have that video. Or leaving, I remember I was in high school, but I was dating this girl that was in college, and I remember what it was is like she flirted with my buddy at a party or something, and so I broke up with her like super dramatically. And my buddy that she flirted with and I were drinking, and I called her and left messages on her answering machine at her dorm room. And they were so bad. I'm not proud of this, but it was still a fun story because so I left these just all night leaving these messages because no one picked up, and it was like the cassette tape kind where you leave it. And so anyways, I actually attempted to go to college and went to that school. You know, it was like 40 minutes away or whatever. Went to that school and met some girls there. And one of the girls was like, "Hey, I know you. You're the guy that dated." I'll leave her name out. And I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Dude, those messages you left were hilarious." I was like, "What?" She was like, "Yeah, I was her roommate. I was sitting there the whole night laughing my ass off as the new messages were coming in." And yeah, so that was kind of a fun coincidence. Small world. Small world. I don't know. Let me guess, she didn't date you. She wanted to. I was dating somebody else at the time, which is part of the reason why I didn't stay at that school. It was one of those stupid like, "I got a girlfriend back home. Oh, I can't wait to get back home." That was stupid. That was stupid. Girls love cray cray. It is 100% true. If my wife was listening in, she would say, "Can confirm," because you gotta understand. Like me streaming, this is my best behavior. This is 100% my best behavior. Because they live for the drama. Secondary marquee, how dare you? And such insightful. No, not insightful. Inciting. What would be to? It's actually an insightful comment, but it's meant to incite. Incendiary. All right, I think I've covered these spikes. There's some more spikes out there. There's some problem. Inflammatory. But I thought there was a word that we could. Shocked I'm not asleep. I've smashed so much caffeine, and I think. Oh, today's Friday. Yeah, so Jasmine doesn't have to work tomorrow, but she does have to go to a meeting for the garden club. She got voted in on the garden club. She is now one of the secretaries, transcribers, garden meeting transcriber. So she's got to do that tomorrow before we leave to go to the wedding. Sparrow said, "Nope, I do not love Cray. Bounty Code is a super responsible, sweet, and very sane." I'm responsible and sweet, but I'm absolutely not sane. Is that like a book club? No, it's the organization that runs our gardens, right? Because the whole small garden, the Kleingarten community garden thing that we do in Germany is like they've got formal structure, you know, organization and stuff. Can't talk about garden club. The first rule of the garden club. Was that all the spikes? Crazy one. So you guys love crazy? Well, I think it's a mix, right? You've got to have one person in a relationship that loves crazy and one person in a relationship that is crazy. I think that's how it works. So that means you can plant your own purple sticky punch. It is legal in Germany to grow weed now, but it is not. It is against the garden club rules to grow weed. Because I think the German law is you can only grow weed if people are unable to access it and it's too accessible in the garden club or in the gardens. So, but I have grown tobacco just to see if I could do it, and it was successful. Pull up the hot crazy matrix. Oh no, we'll get too far off into the weeds. Seeing a lot of weed gardens out there? No. Nope. For the reason I just mentioned. Yeah, so for those of you that aren't regulars here and haven't seen this a dozen times, apologies if you have, but I find it interesting, and it's not something that's ultra common in the US. But what you're looking at on this map right now, everything here, like everything I'm showing on, I hate that reset bug, but this whole area right here, this is near where I live. I live about 1.5 kilometers from my garden. Oh, I live 2 kilometers from my garden, but 1.5 kilometers from this area. But this whole area in the middle here, we got a nice little lake up there across the way. But this whole center area, it's just individual garden plots with garden houses. So here's a energy relay station, big energy relay station. But like all of these buildings that you see, these aren't. Like these are actually houses along this main street. So these are residential, these bigger ones, but all these other ones are, and you see the size difference, are garden houses, right? How much space are you allotted? We have got 420 square meters, and it's just a coincidence that it's 420. And our house, our little garden house. I'll even show you because, you know, what are you going to do? Are you going to come stalk me? I don't care. Would not be the move for you. This is our little garden house. It is, it's a 24 square meter house. Yeah, little allotment gardens, I think is what the English call them. Yeah, allotments. So, in different gardens have different size, right? Some are a bit bigger and some are smaller. And some of the houses are grandfathered in, so they're a fair bit bigger or whatever, but we're only supposed to have like max 24 square meters, but that's a decent amount of size, you know, like that's decent size. So it's, you can put, you can have like a pull out bed or futon or cots or whatever in there. You can spend a night. You're not supposed to stay there for like more than a few days. You know, so it's not like a vacation home or whatever, but it's €100 a month. I mean, a year. Sorry, it's like €100 a year. I think an extra 100 if you don't do any of your community work, but part of the fun is just like being out here and working with the community. The irrigate, manage water usage. If you basically, if you got a well, then you've got water. Otherwise, they've got little water stations. But the water from the water station is drinkable, so that's nice. We go there and fill up on water, cart it over to our garden. We've got well, you know, sort of just a kind of like plug-in little portable pump well that brings up the water, rainwater collection, shit like that. Yeah, it's a rad place to go out there. It's quiet. They've got mandatory quiet time from 1 to 3 during like each day, and then all day Sundays quiet. Holidays is quiet day, so no lawn mowing, no like no machines or anything. But yeah, I mean, look, this is only one area. There's, I believe, some more, right? So they actually had a high amount of availability. Like in Berlin, you got to get in on waiting lists and shit. And people keep these forever. Jasmine's family, her grandfather had one that he gave down to her father. They've had one garden since the 50s. Right, so really hands-on managing the plot seems. Yep. Yeah, it's, you know, basically my plot. There's rules that we have to follow and all that stuff, but you know, come in and kind of do what you want with it. Yeah, it's really dope, man. It's really relaxing. So when I'm like, hey, I've been at the garden today, or hey, I'm stuck at the garden, no stream or whatever, keep in mind it's 2 kilometers away. I'm not allowed to ride my bike right now, so it's kind of been a pain in the ass. Once my arm's healed, I'll be able to get there and back a lot faster. Got internet there, so I'll probably take my laptop when the weather's getting better and, you know, be able to do some like documentation or lore or whatever from there. I think I got all the spikes this evening. Well, that's nice. I'll check in, but then I'm probably going to come in and put some grass tufts and some other stuff. Yeah, zones, the zone, I'm currently, I've got lighting turned off, but it's looking pretty good. And, some fun stuff hidden in here. There's, even some new stuff I just discovered that Simon put in. I'm like, what are these places? So they actually need some additional population stuff. So we'll have some stuff going on, and we'll do some iteration on population work and all that stuff and take it from there. But it's cool to have another one going. And then it's the first of the month, so we are about to start on a new zone. So you'll probably see that around some. And be working final month, wrapping up Fallen Pass, I think. But we'll be starting on Vale of Zentar soon. Hey, Squarepeg. Yep. All right, so what kind of zone is Vale? Vale of Centaur is a big outdoor zone, but it's got some interesting points of interest in it that, again, are kind of like, will be some cavey things and stuff, right? So we've got a really cool map for it that we can't show you because it's too much spoilers, but I can just say that it's a cool map that Nicodemus did for us. Oh, Nicodemus, I was showing Hamad the map that you did for Fallen Pass, and he was blown away. He thought it was super good, super cool, and was really tickled to see stuff that he had written about in there, you know, and showed him some of the stuff that we adapted and some of the ideas that we added and all that stuff. So, but he was really into it today. Return of Hamad. Basically, what I've been doing is just trying to get a rhythm of meeting up with him when he's available in the mornings, and just seeing if we can get like a consistent rhythm going, and work through some stuff where we may not have been aligned before. And I'm like, it will help to understand this, and for him, it's low pressure. Right, he's got a lot going on in life, so it's helpful for us to be able to talk, and I can update Confluence or transcribe some stuff or whatever. But maybe eventually, we're really kind of feeling it out to see if it'll work. Yeah, so. But those sessions are fun, but sometimes it can be exhausting to like hammer on creative stuff. Anyway, so I think, can someone check, is Redbeard Flynn still streaming? Cause I'm gonna wrap up for tonight. I think I've hit save. I do still need to check in the zone. But if he's still around, then let's raid him, and then that'll give you guys somebody to hang out with if you like. I know how it is with raids. You know, sometimes you're like, oh man, I just heard this guy talk for 3 hours and now I'm done. But yeah, everybody, thanks for being here. Let's raid him, and then give me a couple minutes to talk to him before we leave, before I go to bed or whatever. So, hey Miklos. Let's figure out if we can not screw up the raid. You guys have a good weekend. Hang in there. It'd be cool if you hang out with him. It is his 3rd anniversary, I think. And so it'd be cool to say hi to him, because he has been a very good supporter of the channel, and he's a great guy and has made some great content. So you guys have a great weekend. Let's raid him, and then I'll say good night. Let's start the raid. Thanks for being here, everybody. Hope you stick around. Hope you hang out with Redbeard Flynn and give him some love, since he's been so cool to us and he's been such a supporter. Okay.